be actually giving you. Fuck. Hey, welcome to the video. So this video, I'm going to be breaking down the Twitter API and how to interact with Twitter. I got to doing this because I was hoping to collect tweets, break them down statistically, find patterns, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that with the Node framework, Node.js. If you haven't seen Node, if you don't know anything about it, I would definitely suggest checking that out first. Do a Google search, get Node installed on your computer and get it running. You should be familiar with JavaScript before doing this, since JavaScript is the language of Node. And I think that's pretty much all you need besides a Twitter account. You're going to need one of those. I think that's pretty much it. So I made a few mistakes when I was doing this video. I've been very scatterbrained tonight, so I might pop up again throughout the video to make some corrections. I hope this is informative. Yeah. First thing we're going to do is go to dev.twitter.com and sign in if you're not signed in. Click on your picture over there and go to My Applications. What we're going to do is we're going to set up a Twitter app. So I already have one in here. So we're going to go to Create New App for this one. Like I said, I already tried this earlier. We'll see if it lets me still use this new name. These names do have to be unique, so you can't just use test app. But since I deleted the last one, we'll see if this works. Test app. I'll just leave it at that. Yep, that's me. Callback URL. Once you get familiar with the Twitter API, you might want to check into the callback URL, see if it's something that'll apply for whatever you're trying to do, but I'm not going to go into that here. Create your Twitter application. Description is too short. Test app for use of YouTube video. This is why I'm paid the big bucks. Alright, look at that. And next we're going to go over to API keys. And so we got the API key and the API secret. So this is what handles the authentication for your app. Twitter wants to know if you're using their service, they want to know who you are. They want to know who's making calls against their service, just so that they can, basically, I think, just so they can shut you down if you are using the service in a way that they don't want you to. I think that's mainly what they do that for. So that's what those are there to do, and I'll show you how we get that plugged in just a second. You have this option down here to regenerate API keys, which is really great if you ever decide to put your API keys in, say, a YouTube video, where you're just broadcasting it to the world. You would probably want to hit that button immediately after you're done with the video, because people could use these keys to hack your account and use your account to do whatever they want to with the Twitter API. Another thing you might want to do is create my access token. So what this does is for some parts of the Twitter API, and we'll get into this in a little bit in the video, for some parts of the Twitter API, you need, or you might want to be using a Twitter account instead of an app account, for lack of a better word, and instead of using the API as an app, you might want to use it as a user. Times where you might do that would be like, say you want to get whoever the signed in user, like if whatever your application is, has somebody signed into Twitter, and you want to grab all of their posts, that signed in user's posts, you would use their user account instead of your app. Basically, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Anyway, This is also good if you want your app to post to its own Twitter account or something like that. So I click to create my access token, and it's going to tell me up here that it might take a few minutes, might take a moment to make changes. I'm going to hit refresh because it hasn't shown up yet, and looks like it still hasn't shown up yet. It does take a minute. Still has not shown up yet. It's definitely taking a minute. And there it is. Alright, so now I have another access token and a token secret here that I can use for the user account, for my user account, for Josh Rauhurst, at Josh Rauhurst, by the way. Alright, so that's it. That's all we have to do in here to get set up to create an app. We're going to refer back to this in just a minute to grab those keys. But in the meantime, pull up the editor of your choice. My screen is really lagging right now. Alright, hopefully this is going to go well. This is going to go well. Let's have high hopes. Let's have high hopes. Alright, I already got a project folder set up. It's just an empty folder. I'm going to add a file. And let's just call this Twitter.js. Alright, oh, and before I forget, let's pull up, come on, let's pull up terminal and navigate to your project folder, and we need to install a dependency, a node dependency here. So we're going to do npm install npm install Twitter. It's just Twitter. If you have a package.json file, which I recommend normally, I forgot to set one up. You can do the save dev, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to do this for now. Alright, and you'll see node modules shows up in here now in my project folder. So now I should be able to access the Twitter API by doing var Twitter. That's not Twitter. Twitter equals require Twitter. Actually, I'm gonna do this. Call that twit, and then Twitter is going to be new. This lag is really messing with me. Twitter. And we're gonna. God. Okay. I promise I'll get on my game in just a second here. All right. And this, so this dependency, this Twitter dependency that we're doing in Node, this is really nice because I had such a hard time getting calls to the Twitter API to work in Postman for me. I'm still not sure what I was doing wrong. I was following the directions and everything. I was really running into problems with it though. And this though, whatever I was doing wrong, this corrects it. This dependency corrects that problem. So we're going to use this dependency. So we're going to use this module to use our Twitter. Sorry, I'm pulling up a reference on the side here to see what I'm doing. Okay. Come on. We need a consumer key. We need a consumer secret. And we need an access token key, and we need an access token secret. All right, and this is where we go back here. Let me copy. All right, so starting with your application's API key, you're going to go over here to consumer key. throw that in. And by the way, just to make sure in case I wasn't clear earlier, these specific ones are not going to work for you because I'm going to delete this app as soon as I'm done with as soon as I'm done making this video. So you gotta make your own and test those. Jump back over here, and then last one. There we go. All right, perfect. We are on our way. Let's see. While I'm at it, we're also going to do our count equals 0. Okay, so now we need to do Twitter.stream. We're just going to jump right into this filter. And we're gonna. I'm gonna break this stuff down for you in just a second. Track, and let's do love. I always get good results with love. We're gonna get a stream from that, and we're going to tell it to stream.onData function data. We're gonna, one other thing I want to get, throw in with this for util equals require util. This will be a little handy. This will make it a little bit easier to see what kind of data we're using. Util dot inspect. I think it's inspect data. Console.log. There we go. All right, so that's going to just spit out to the console the raw JSON that we get back from Twitter API. And then I think we're just going to do one stream dot destroy and I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to do before I end this. I think I need to do process. I quit, but maybe not. Oh yeah. I don't know if this is absolutely necessary, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Process.exit. So that ends the Node program right there. Do that process.exit. That should be it. We should be able to get ourselves a tweet now. Let's see if it works. All right, so I'm in my project folder. We're gonna do node Twitter or whatever you called your JS file, and we got ourselves a tweet. I was scrolling when my video caused my computer to freeze up just a minute ago, so I'm hoping that this is going to be okay. Alright, so Jalini, I just saw this. I love you more, baby. Yep, that's Twitter for you. In reply to the screen name, and we get some user information. So you can see this is the text of the tweet. This is the unique ID for the tweet, which is freaking unfathomable to me that they all have their own unique IDs. It's really insane. But so then also we get a whole bunch of user data, including their followers count, friends, which are the people that are following them, no, that they are following, people that they are following is their friends. Favorites, stuff like that. Even stuff like even their background color, link color, whole bunch of stuff. Default profile, if they never changed anything, it'll tell you that. It'll say it's true if they've never changed any of the default color scheme. And if they've never changed their default image, if they still just have that egghead image, then it's going to be true for that. You might get geolocation data. Entities, this is an important thing that you might want to take a look at, because this doesn't break down these objects when we do the util inspect. It doesn't go down further and show these objects, but so like user mentions here are objects that point out any time, like in the tweet she's sending it to @Jalini. God, scroll, dang it. Anyway, yeah, so she's sending it to Jalini, and so this gets a object inside of the entities property, inside of the user mentions property. It's an object in the array of user mentions, and it'll tell you the indexes of where it starts and stops within the tweet, of where that mention starts and stops. And it does this also for hashtags, trends, URLs, and symbols. I haven't seen the trends, I don't think, or the symbols, and so I don't think I've confirmed that those are the same objects, but I'm pretty sure that the user mentions and hashtags are exactly the same, and URLs are pretty much exactly the same object, or they're very, very similar. Anyway, so there's a lot of data here that you can get, and this is just one tweet, and you saw how fast that came through. So now let's break down what exactly is happening here. So one thing I want to point out is the difference between the streaming API and the REST API for Twitter. The REST API has data rate limits where it'll cut you off after a certain amount of requests within a certain window, which is like 15 minutes, a 15-minute window. I should also point out that every path, path that you're querying is going to have different limits. You're going to have to check the documentation to see what your limits are for different paths. That's if you're using the RESTful API. If you're using the streaming API, you don't really have limits in the same way. As I point out at other points during this video, you're only allowed to use up to 1% of the fire hose. With streaming APIs, though, you can make as many requests to it as you want, and and it's fine. I have noticed, though, if I do request over and over again, I'm likely to get an error, and I might have to wait a few minutes, but I haven't seen any official documentation saying that has anything to do with anything. So just something to keep an eye out. So in the documentation here, we're going to take a look at, we're just going to go to any of these. So this is where you get information on the API and how to interact with it. And we're going to just look at API version 1.1. I just clicked on this thing over here, and this is going to bring up like all of the all of the different paths we can query. So this is different statuses and stuff like that you can get. And what we're doing is actually statuses/filter, which is right here. We're doing a post to statuses/filter. That's the request that gets sent out. So if I click on this, and I'll bring it up in a new tab so that we can jump back to that as we need to. All right. So right here we get all the information that we need as far as like what kind of parameters to send it, which is what the track was. So statuses / filter. Actually, you know what? Let me start by telling you what the fire hose is, because this is like probably what most people are looking to use is the fire hose. They probably get started using the Twitter API, interested in using the fire hose, whether they know it or not. The fire hose is what you would call, in order to get every tweet as it's coming in. They call it the fire hose very appropriately because it is just a huge amount of tweets that are coming in. Filter and other paths in the API, from what I've seen in the forums, the Twitter developers forums, only uses about 1% of the fire hose. You're only getting at most 1% of the fire hose. And I want to show you in a minute what that exactly what that means, because it's freaking nuts when you think about this, about how many tweets that really is. So this is where you would, if you apparently you need to get a very high level access in order to get to this. You can't just sign up an app and get access to the fire hose. You need to have like a business relationship with Twitter in order to get access to this. From what I've seen in the forums, that's just what I've seen in the forums, that people saying no, you can't access that without special permission from Twitter. So just so you're aware that that's what that is. So since we can't use this, we're going to use a couple other things like filter, or you could use sample right here. Sample is basically the fire hose light. Hey, so I just wanted to clarify something real quick about sample. It's just a small set of the fire hose. I don't know how they go about determining which tweets show up in sample or and which don't, but that's what it is. It's a small set of fire hose that you can't filter down. You use filter for that. And it's important to note that everybody gets the same sample data. So if you have two applications both querying sample, then they're both going to get the same tweets at the same time. At least that's according to the documentation on Twitter. I haven't confirmed that, but according to the documentation on Twitter, that should be accurate. So you're going to get tweets from all around the world with this. With filter, you can narrow it down a little bit more. Throw it an English word in track for the track parameter, and you're going to get probably going to get English tweets back. So, or whatever language you are looking to use, because you can set location as parameter too. I haven't tried that, but you can probably set location as parameter and get it if you were looking to get it from a specific part of the world, get tweets from a specific part of the world. That would probably work too. You can also follow. You can give a user ID and stream their tweets as they tweet. But track is great because it, like I said, it's kind of like a search feature. There is also a search path in the API, but that's something different. I think it looks up past tweets. This searches all tweets as they're coming in, filters them by whatever word you give it, or phrase. You can put in a phrase and get any tweets involved with that phrase, like Doctor Who. Throw in a space there and between Doctor and Who, and that'll work. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of tweets for that. I've checked. All right, so that kind of hopefully gives you some kind of idea of what these APIs are, what it is that we're doing in this code, where we're saying we want to use the filter path. We want any tweets that have this word in it, and once you got the stream set up, we're going to say, all right, whenever there's a tweet that comes in, this is what we want you to do. And that's all there is to it, really. Some things to keep in mind with this API. It's not or with this module, this Twitter module. It's a really nice module. I want to point out, though, a couple things I noticed. First of all, you might, if you're kind of stumped on why something isn't working, it's worth pulling up the twitter.js. Find whatever function you're using. If it's stream, which is what I have mainly been using, stream, okay. Find that function, and you can see, like, all right, user will work, site will work, filter will work. Anything else, I had to look this up in order to figure this out. Anything else besides filter, site, or user, you have to throw in like statuses / that. So like for Firehose, when I was trying to use that, I had to do statuses in, let me be more specific, jump back over here to Twitter. I had to use, right here I had to put in statuses / Firehose. In order to get that to work, even though then it would error out telling me I don't have permissions. So something to just keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is this parser.js file over here. What I ended up doing, because when Twitter sends you an error, it's normally not JSON. And having this JSON in the same try-catch as the emit data JSON causes a little bit of confusion. So what I do is I throw it in its own try-catch error. And then I do this emit. I screwed up a little bit here. This JSON error that I'm supposed to be throwing should be an actual error object. If you get this, then this will actually display what the error message from Twitter was. Like for example, when I tried the Firehose, that was just a message saying I do not have the correct permissions for this or something like that. But it wasn't, since it wasn't in a JSON format, it threw this whole thing off. Let's see what stream looks like. So stream, you don't need, like, there are possible parameters you can throw in there, but it's nothing like, stream, you get what you get for the most part. Oh, yeah, actually, okay, perfect example. Sample's not covered here, so I need to do statuses /sample. So there you go. Well, let's see if there you go. There we go. There we go. So one of my complaints about the Twitter API is there's no real good documentation on stuff like this, but you get stuff like this where I think what this is that somebody deleted a status, and for some reason I got a notification that happened using sample. You don't get that with filter. With filter, there's another thing that I'll show you that you'll run across, but with sample, you're going to see this. This happens quite a bit. Let's see if we can actually get a real. Yeah, see, there's a lot of these that come through and sample. There we go. There's a real tweet. I didn't. Hey, so I wanted to do a quick, just to make sure we're clear on this. First of all, get rid of the count that I never used. Real quick, what you might do just as a real-world application. Come on. So, if you're probably not going to console log every single tweet with your real application. What you're probably going to do is something like add these tweets to an array. And then what you can do is like just collect data for 5 seconds. Before you kill the stream. And maybe you could do like console.log collected tweets.length tweets. At this point, you would break down your tweet set. You would loop through your tweets and collect whatever data you needed to from those tweets. Alright, so I just needed to get a few errors worked out there. And then run that. It runs for 5 seconds. Collected 299 tweets in 5 seconds. That's sample. So let's take a quick look. I want to show you. So this is, I hope you're kind of getting an idea of how you go about using this this module. Between using that module and then jumping over to the documentation here, you can see all the possible things you can do with that Twitter module. So you pair up the documentation with that, and you're good to go. You can do pretty much anything you want to do. Unless, of course, it's something that they don't let you do, but they also don't tell you that you can't do, like the fire hose. Alright, I'm going to jump over to this other app I've got in my terminal, so you don't have to worry about like following along really with this, but I'm going to show you Node. What do I call it? Oh yeah, knit twit. And I'm just going to do this blank, and this is going to automatically do a sample for 5 seconds. So it's going to stream all the tweets from the sample thing for 5 seconds. And we only got 69. That seemed kind of slow, and I think it's because my computer's running slow right now. But that's not a lot of tweets for 5 seconds. Let me run that one more time. See if we can get some more. Yeah, there's a little bit more. Okay. So, and then I set up this program to spit out some information, a few statistics about this, like the average followers for every user found in this set of tweets, which one was the highest, had the highest number of followers, what their tweet was, stuff like that. So, and then I also have it set up so that if I do node word love, so we got, like, just doing sampling, we got 322 tweets in 5 seconds. I bet if we do love, we're gonna get more. So by using filter, in which this automatically did, by adding a word parameter to this program I built, it'll automatically switch over to the filter instead of the sample. By using filter, I actually was able to pull in more tweets than using sample. That's what I really want to point out to you, is that sample to me seems really slow, but you get random tweets from all around the world. So if that's what you're looking for, awesome. But if you're looking to just pull in a whole bunch of tweets as quickly as possible, and especially if you're looking to have them come in from a certain location, filter is probably going to be the API you want to go with. So we got 412 in just a few seconds, in 5 seconds, using the keyword love. which is really incredible to me, like how much people use that word. I've been trying a whole bunch of different words, and aside from really generic words like the or of or it, I haven't come across another word that generates tweets like love does. It's kind of, I think that's an interesting thing with I don't know, human nature, that we overuse that word. I want to show you though with the, for the word the, I've noticed this, and we're going to show bad tweets. Again, this is just what my program that I built does. This isn't anything that you have already on your computer. This isn't going to work for you. You see how it's slowing down? It'll like pause when you do it. I'll do it one more time just to show you. See, it stops, goes, stops, goes, stop, goes. It doesn't do this with a lot of them, but what's happening is whenever it does that stop and goes, I realized it's hitting these limits. So I'm just showing you these tweets that I have it set up in here that if it doesn't have like a text field, it considers it a bad tweet, and I'm telling it to display those. These tweets will come in on filter. Kind of like how sample has the deletions, filter has these limits, these limit objects. I found a thing in the forum saying that what this is if you're going above the 1% of the fire hose, right? Like I was saying earlier, these other paths off the API are only allowed to use 1% of the fire hose. If you're filtering on a word that's so common like that the amount of tweets you get surpasses that 1% of the fire hose, you're going to get these limits. And what they're supposedly supposed to do are tell you how many tweets you're missing, right? So that's kind of the idea of what those are. I haven't really looked it up. It doesn't seem like there's really a rhyme or reason to necessarily to these numbers, these track numbers, except they do increment, like they do go up over time, but they're not like in order or anything, so I'm not really positive how that works, but that's what that's doing. It's just something to keep an eye out. If you might you might have to plan for that in your code. One thing I was going to point out though was, if you notice, look at that. So in 5 seconds, we got over 1,000 tweets in 5 seconds. And if that's 1% of the fire hose, that's incredible. That would be that'd be, I don't know if my math is right here. It'd be 10,000 tweets. It'd be like 10,000 tweets then in 5 seconds. But that would only be like ones that had the word the in them. So it's a ridiculous amount of tweets that are going through that fire hose at any given time. And it's just something worth pointing out is, like, if you feel like, man, I really wish I had access to the fire hose, you would need a pretty good infrastructure to handle that kind of bandwidth that you would be getting from that. Okay, so that's the video. I hope you found this informative. I hope it helps you out. I know it's long and I ramble, and that's me. That's my thought process. But if you like this, please like the video. If you found it helpful, please like the video. Please throw in a comment. I'd love to hear about how you're using it. If you have links to, as you use this stuff, if you have links to your projects, throw them in the comments. I'd love to see it. I'm really interested in the possibilities of using the Twitter API for myself, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of people to use this for really interesting projects. So yeah, hit subscribe if you want to see any more videos like this. Thanks. But like I said, we're gonna go through and do just a really basic, really simple project, and just to kind of get you familiar with the grunt file. and the whole workflow of creating one of these.